Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Star. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the top people at each position, starting with QBs. Number 5, Russell Wilson. I believe this is a toss-up between Russell Wilson and Ryan Tannehill. I just feel like passing-wise, they are very similar. I just feel like Wilson just gets the edge because of his just pure rushing talents.
His scrambling ability.
Yes, scrambling ability. Also, the fact he's done much more with, in my opinion, much less. Yeah, he didn't have a great run game this year. His wide receivers were really good, but he didn't have what Tannehill had talent-wise. Okay, on to the next one. Tom Brady. Tom Brady is still holding true. He won the Super Bowl. I mean, he won the Super Bowl. He's the oldest quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl by a lot. And he didn't really show off any huge sign of the crease. I mean, if you looked at his fellow senior in the division, Drew Brees. Drew Brees had he fell off a massive cliff. Brady, though, he was still able to toss the ball with some speed. He was still able to do everything he was able to do. I just think he's a far better quarterback than most of the other quarterbacks in the league. Number 3, Deshaun Watson. Watson's easy at this position. I mean, he got a Pro Bowl thing at 4 wins. Because of Bill O'Brien. I was going to say that. Bill O'Brien, say complete hack. But he managed to make the Pro Bowl on a very lackluster team. I mean, their defense was terrible and their offense was terrible. He was holding it together. I honestly think they would have been up there with the Jaguars for worst team in the league if it wasn't for Deshaun Watson. But yeah, I think he's easily one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
I think he could go number maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, I could see that. It's just that
he was on a different team.
Yeah. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. He won MVP. Hey, what else do I have to say? He won MVP. But I think so. This list is meant to be our opinion of who had the best season this year, plus who we think is going to have the most success next year. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a very, very good quarterback next year. I think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback again next year. I don't think he's going to have a better season than Mahomes. Mahomes just has way more talent. Like, the Packers have done absolutely nothing to support Aaron Rodgers. They had a I don't remember exactly what pick it was, but like they Will Fuller at the trade deadline for a 2nd-round pick that would have been crazy. And even though he got suspended, that still would have been amazing to have. I mean, I feel like that could have carried him to the Super Bowl, honestly. But yeah, I don't think he is going to have I think he's going to have a great season next year. I just don't think it's going to be the same thing. Then Patrick Mahomes is number 1. Is anybody surprised by this?
Yeah, I'm joking. I think this is a good easy number 1.
Easy number 1. I mean, this is...
Didn't have his best.
Yeah, that's the thing. He didn't have as good of a season as he could have last year. Like, he did. There's no way he disappointed. He put up his team went 14-2 and went to the Super Bowl. But the team wasn't as good as it could have been. I mean, look at the offensive line. I mean, offensive line is really the only spot. And offensive line and running backs. Look at those 2. He had no support from either of those 2. Running backs were lackluster this year. And then the offensive lineman, by the end of the year, was missing their first three of their top offensive linemen. It's just it's one of the easiest number 1. It's one of the easiest I've ever seen. Now moving on to tight ends. Tight ends is a lot harder because there's one clear winner and then a big muddle in the middle. So, number 5, TJ Hockenson. His first year was kind of meh, but he's shown that he can be a top high-end receiving threat, and they've really on a team that doesn't really have a great one. I mean, they got Kenny Golladay, who I'd say is a above-average wide receiver, and then Marvin Jones, who's a good, not great wide receiver, and then that's their top three. I mean, they got two average to above-average players, and then one top high-end wide receiver. And tight end.
He carried the line.
Yeah, he carried the line. I mean, they were honestly one of the worst offensive and defensive teams I've seen, probably because of Matt Patricia's show, but it should have been a lot better season, but it wasn't. But he was a bright spot. Number 4, Mark Andrews. He is a high-end receiving threat on one of the game's most electric offenses. Like, he turned on he's one of the top, as I said before, he's one of the top wide receiving threats. I mean, one of the top receiving threats I've seen from the Ravens in the last couple of years. And think about it, Hollywood Brown has had a serious drop problem. And then after that, it's middle of the pack receivers, in my opinion. So yeah, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and I think the fact that he's behind, he's been behind. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, who runs the ball over 75% of the time, and the fact that he's got J.K. Dobbins, he's got Edwards behind him, he's got Mark Ingram behind him, and he still manages to perform at high levels and put up great numbers. So
it's nuts how good he's been in the last couple of years. Okay. Number 3, George Kittle. I think this was a close one between number 3 and number 2. It's just that George Kittle was hurt last year, and I think skill-wise, he is number 2. It's just that he hasn't shown that he's able to stay on the field. Like, he's being relatively injury-prone the last couple of years, that kind of thing. Just, I think, we think that Mark, the second guy on the thing, Mark Andrews, is just going to have, Darren Waller is going to have a much better upcoming season and had a much better current season. Anything to add to that?
I agree with everything. I think you basically covered it.
Okay, number 2, Darren Waller. Darren Waller is, in my opinion, one of the best stories in the NFL right now. And a couple of years ago, he was on the he got cut from the Ravens, had a bit of a substance abuse problem, had a bunch of that kind of thing, but it's completely turned around. He had a insanely good season last year. He got added to the Pro Bowl. He just played out of his mind he played good last season and then played extremely good this season. Now, number 1, Travis Kelcee. Travis Kelcee is arguably not only the best receiver, tight end. He's he's a top 5 receiving threats in the league. He is unstoppable. I mean, at one point he was I believe at one point in the season, he was in the lead for receiving yards. And as a tight end, that is nuts. Because, you don't get the ball as much. And he's also a good pass blocker, that kind of thing. He is one of the best receivers that I've seen. And actually, the best receiving threats I've seen.
And it does help that he has Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, and there's no doubt.
And it doesn't help that he's also behind Tyreek Hills, Hardman, Watkins, though he was hurt most of the year, but I'd say was his Patrick Mahomes' number 1 target this year.
Yeah. Okay, now moving on to the running backs. Number 5, Jonathan Taylor. He was a standout rookie. In my opinion, I'd say he was probably third in line for Rookie of the Year, behind obviously Justin Herbert, who got Rookie of the Year, and then Justin Jefferson, who got second. But
Maybe James Robinson, but maybe I don't think he'd win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think, but I mean, he had 1,000 yards as a rookie, which is relatively rare. So yeah. Number 4, Nick Chubb, standout running back for the Browns. Him and Kareem Hunt, in my opinion, is the best running back room in the league. So yeah, and he was actually, 2 years ago he was almost the rushing leader before Derrick Henry had that crazy game against the Texans. But 2 years ago, that was like the best season. That was like he had the best season of his career, and then this season wasn't much of a drop off. So yeah, you got anything to add to that?
He's like a mini Derrick Henry. He's like a bowling ball. He can drop, run over people. He can do all sorts of stuff Derrick Henry can do, and he's got such an incredible style I've never seen before. And the fact that he was hurt most of the year made him drop before. But I think next year, if he stays healthy, he's gonna be coming for the rushing title and a top spot in our rankings. Oh yeah.
I mean, him and Derrick Henry, I think, could be some of the top running backs in the league in the future. Number 3, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is kind of filling the spot that Christian McCaffrey. I think Christian McCaffrey is probably number 6 on the running back list just because he was hurt last year, that kind of thing. But Kamara, he's not an amazing running back, but he is definitely the best receiving back in the league. Let's see here. This season, he had less than 1,000 yards rushing, but had 83 catches. Let's see here. Is he going to tell me how many yards it's for? Here we go. For 756 yards. So, I mean, he had a lackluster year, but the thing is, this is one of his. He's on the up and up. That's the thing. I mean, he's a young running back who can catch really well. He has almost as many receiving yards as he did rushing yards this year. And he's had almost 3,000 yards catching in his 4 seasons, and almost 3,500 yards rushing. That is really good stats. So I think he's on the up and up. And the other thing is, the reason why I think he's going to have amazing production this year, because the Saints aren't going to have a quarterback at quarterback. They're going to have a running back / tight end / wide receiver / punt protector.
Yeah, Taysom Hill. All right, number 2.
Number 2. We have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook. So, Derrick Henry, who everybody knows is going to be number 1, had 2,000 yards rushing, a bit over 2,000 yards. Dalvin Cook missed 2 games and had 1,500 yards. That is close, because if you have a little bit, say if we could have possibly had 2 2,000-yard rushers in the same season, and that would be nuts. And he's a way better receiving threat than Derrick Henry. It's just that Derrick Henry is a better running back, but Dalvin Cook is definitely the better receiving back. I mean, without a doubt. I don't think anybody would dispute that. Anything to add?
Dalvin Cook would definitely be up there for the top, like maybe number 1 if it weren't for his injury. But
oh yeah, definitely.
And obviously,
if he had 1,900 plus yards, I think he'd be number 1. Because 1,900 plus yards plus however much receiving yards, that's well over 2,000. So he would be number 1 by far.
All right. So, number 1 is obviously Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest pick of all time.
It's no question, no hesitation. Number 1, Derrick Henry. Nothing we really need to go over other than he is kind of came out of a time machine, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Jim Brown came back to the NFL. Jim Brown came back. He basically, you can't tackle him. Like, if you watch him play, you cannot tackle him.
Yeah.
He will pick you up, throw you down, and knock you away.
Yeah, there's no one as strong as him, no one as big as him, no one as fast considering his size as him at running back in the entire league. So yeah, it's just crazy. So I think we have wide receiver now.
And then one thing about this is, and this is kind of talking about some college stuff, but he the guy that kind of looks like him in college football now is Kyle Pitts. I was watching a bit. I had heard a ton of buzz about him, so I watched all his highlights. They look the same. Like, they run the same. They look like they play the same. Kyle Pitts looks like a receiving Derrick Henry. But that's just what I've kind of seen from him in the few highlights that I've seen. So, yeah. Okay, on to the wide receivers. Wide receivers is a hard one. So before we get started, I am just going to name a couple honorable mentions. So I'm just going to go 6 and 7 here. I'd say these two are probably tied right before 5. I'd say A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin are two of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, A.J. Brown had made the playoffs and had knee problems the entire year. Terry McLaurin has just been, in my opinion, a way underrated player just over the 2 years. He's never put up astronomical numbers, but just good numbers, but consistently good numbers every year. So yeah, on to the picks. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. Best rookie wide receivers I've seen in a long time. I mean, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. That is insane numbers. And the Vikings don't exactly have a slouchers at wide receiver. I mean, they have got Kyle Rudolph, who they just cut, that kind of thing. But yeah, he's just absolutely insane. His stuff. Okay, on to number 4, DK Metcalf. He is crazy. I mean, it's crazy good. I mean, he is big, he's strong, just absolutely
physical.
Yeah, he's one of the most physical wide receivers in the league. And that's not an easy cornerback division. I mean, look at some of the other teams in the division. The Rams, they have Ramsey. The 49ers don't have him anymore, but the 49ers this year had Richard Sherman. The Seahawks have not a cornerback, but the Seahawks have what's his name? Jamal Adams. That is one of the hardest cornerback divisions in football right now. I mean, he's one of the more physical ones. And I think he's one of the brightest futures. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins.
He can catch anything that comes his way.
Hail Murray.
Yeah.
Triple coverage. I mean, that's all I have to see. Triple coverage on you on the last play of the game on a Hail Mary, which is already on a 40-plus yard Hail Mary. I have no idea what it is, but that I guarantee you that the probability of him catching that were probably about 2 or 3%. Any comment. He is one of the best wide receivers ever. He's one of the best wide receivers this generation. So, yeah. Number 2, Davante Adams. I mean, he's the only real wide receiver. First off, it helps him that he's one of the few actually good wide receiver threats he is one of the best wide receivers in the league. He has the speed to blow by you, but he's also, I'd say he's pretty physical in his catching. He can make almost any catch. I mean, it didn't get called as a touchdown just because it didn't look like one. But like earlier in the season, I think it was against the Broncos, and I'd say the majority of the TV audience was really zoomed in on it, thinking it wasn't a touchdown. So, I mean, he made some of the most crazy catches, and he's on a team with the most wide receiver threats. So, yeah, I think you got anything to add to those?
No, I think that's a good list. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams are two that could have swap places. I don't know. They could be the same, but I think that's the list.
Yeah, I don't think Davante and Tyreek are 1A and 1. And you could make an argument both ways. It's just, in my opinion, yeah. It is in my opinion. I'd give Tyreek Hill a slight boost over him. Just for the fact that his team's actually made the Super Bowl the last 2 years and actually had success. So yeah, like and subscribe, and we will post the offensive and defensive line thing as soon as this video, this video hits 20 likes. Thank you guys so much for how fast this channel has been growing. We're almost at 150. We're almost at 150 subscribers. Can't thank you enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our video. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Please like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and yeah.
See ya.
See ya.